podcasting from sunny Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to Tips for Tour Operators, your podcast for growth hacks, marketing tips, and actionable insights from leading experts in the tourism industry. Welcome everybody to the Tips for Tour Operators podcast. I am your host, Dustin Hoyman with Outdoor Adventure Marketing. We are here today with Emmanuel with Activities and Tour Marketing. Casey is an amazing SEO expert. He actually led a workshop here at Arival. We're at Arival right now. And he led an incredible workshop that was apparently went over really well. That's really awesome because SEO is a topic a lot of people get excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten pretty amazing feedback. I even had someone from another agency stop by after and just compliment me on how impactful he thought it was. So to have a peer come up to me and say he found it valuable was pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And so obviously today we're talking about SEO and really the impact of what it can do not only on Google search pages that everyone knows about, but also Google Maps. So before we get started though, Casey, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been an SEO for just over 3.5 years now. Kind of just got into the activity and tour game about a year ago. So I'm still learning a lot. I've learned a ton in the last 2 days. It's been great just getting to know people and learn about their unique challenges. So yeah, I mean, SEO is kind of my first love, I guess, when it comes to my career. Didn't really know what I wanted to do when I came out of college, ended up getting into a sales job, didn't like that. And I guess on a whim, sort of, I had a buddy working at an SEO and PPC agency, and he was doing PPC, and he was like, hey, we got an SEO opening. And I was like, I don't know anything about that, but let's give it a shot. And it turns out I love it, and I'm pretty good at it. So,
yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So we were talking just a little bit ago about SEO's impact, and something that I'd never even considered, and I'm assuming a lot of the tour operators haven't, is the impact of what it has on Google Maps, in addition to just your regular search results page. Can you kind of walk through that a little bit?
Right. So probably over the last 2 or 3 years, Google's gotten really, really good at identifying what we call like local intent in a search. And when Google identifies that local intent, it likes to serve up a map. So that's what we're talking about when we talk Google Maps. If I'm talking local or Google Maps, it's kind of the same thing. So, and especially in the tour and activity space, people are going to be searching for such and such tour with a geo modifier. So adding on a city name or a state name or a country name or whatever. So that right there's a very strong signal to Google that it needs to serve up some sort of map. So that is just a great opportunity in organic search for tour operators to rank in more than one spot. You know, traditionally people think about the 10 blue links, which is kind of how Google started. You know, probably over a decade now they introduced Google Maps. But that's a cool thing about SEO is, you know, you're not only trying to rank in one spot, you've got multiple opportunities. And I think Google Maps is one that tour and activity operators should be paying really close attention to.
Yeah, I'm assuming that if somebody's searching and they're paying attention to that map, their intent is fairly high at that point.
Right, yeah, and that's kind of what I talked about in my workshop yesterday. I mentioned organic search offers a lot of different sort of opportunities to rank, and those different opportunities really align with, you know, whatever step that searcher might be in their buyer journey. So when it comes to Google Maps, those users that are interacting with the map are probably ready to buy that tour today and now because they're looking for some place nearby. You know, maybe some exceptions where they're off destination and they're kind of in research mode and they're still interacting with the map. Either way, it's a prime location to grab the attention of those searchers.
Yeah, so a lot of opportunity there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. So how does someone really get started, you know, making sure their SEO is just like a baseline of SEO is like set up and good and solid?
Yeah, so the two kind of pillars that I pay close attention to are the technical side of things. So making sure your website loads quickly, is mobile friendly. You know, again, that's super important for tour and activity operators because people are going to be on their phones. I know most of our clients at TRK have the majority of their traffic coming through on mobile devices. So I would venture to guess that's pretty much the norm for tour and activity operators. So kind of getting that technical foundation solid, and then on the other side, getting into content and keyword research and making sure you've got pages and content that match certain search terms that you want to rank for.
So you really want to make sure that, one, the mobile-friendly thing is huge. Google will penalize you, I've heard, if you're not mobile-friendly.
Yeah, and this is getting a little into the weeds, but Google is also rolling out its mobile-first index right now. So basically what that means is throughout its entire existence, Google has looked at your desktop site when kind of evaluating your site for ranking it. So it'll look at all the content on your desktop site. It'll look at the page speed of your desktop site, all that good stuff. But Google came out, I don't know, it was probably 4 or 5 years ago now already that Google came out and said that they actually get most of their searches happening on mobile devices. So, it's been a very slow kind of change of focus for Google, but mobile has become the primary the primary source of the index. So if you've got a mobile site that's on an m.dot, so that would be m.yourdomain.com, that's the site that Google is going to be looking at to figure out where it wants to rank you for certain search terms. So if you've got some discrepancies between your mobile site and your desktop site, that's something that you'd want to pay really close attention to and make sure that you can get those sites to match up as close as possible.
Sure. And I know a lot of people, especially when you are in the marketing world like we are, or a tour operator, you're looking at your desktop a lot, but the consumers don't.
Right.
Consumers don't at all. So Matt Newton, a previous podcast guest, actually has a ton of tips, so I'll link to that below on what to do to update your mobile site. So making sure your technology is set up. So that was the first pillar. And then what was the second pillar?
Content.
Content?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Google crawls and looks for certain words and phrases. It used to be a decade ago that you could just throw your keyword on the page 100 times and you're going to rank. Not the case anymore. The content needs to be natural and ultimately needs to serve the end user. Because that's Google's purpose. If Google wasn't focused on providing a good experience for its users, no one would come back to Google and you wouldn't get traffic from Google. So ultimately, do what's best for the user, and 99 times out of 100, that's going to be what's best for Google as well. So
not only fast loading, mobile friendly, it's got to be really informative content that aligns exactly with what the user is looking for.
Yep.
Okay, great. So how does somebody find out what that would look like as far as what kind of content to do? Do you have a tool or system to do that?
Yeah, there are tons of tools out there. A couple of things I talked about in my workshop yesterday. Tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs. Those are kind of paid tools that are really for getting into the weeds in the keyword research and giving you just a lot of rich information. But there's a lot of free things out there too. My favorite thing to do when I get a new client, just to get a feel for the keyword space, is pick one of their top landing pages or one of their top tour pages and perform a search that I think should lead to that page, and then just do some analysis of the search results. So look at competitors, look at what their title tags are. So title tags would just be the blue text that links to their site, and then also looking at the related searches at the bottom of the search results. That's a really good clue as to what Google is seeing as being kind of relevant to that topic. Because we say the word keyword and it's kind of a misnomer because Google's kind of moved away from that keyword-based approach and kind of looking towards more like topical relevancy. So, like I said, you can't just say the keyword 100 times. You have to build out, relevant, useful information kind of around that keyword. And related searches at the bottom of the search results is a great place to find that relevant content to kind of tie to your core keyword.
Can you give an example of what you might find if you searched and then see what those related keywords would be? Because I know what you're talking about, but making sure everyone understands what that is.
Yeah, so just an example from one of our clients. So you would search whale watching tours in Hawaii and scroll down to the bottom of the page and you're going to see a lot of long tail related searches. So when we say long tail, we mean 5, 6, 7 word long keywords.
Okay.
So sometimes we'll see stuff like when is whale watching season in Hawaii, because people have gotten very conversational with Google and are asking Google questions. So Google wants to make sure that if you're providing whale watching tours, you're also solving that other searcher's problem.
Okay.
When they're wondering what whale watching season is.
Okay, that's really great. Now, talking a little bit more about Google Maps, how do you make sure that your information is available to appear on your Google search site? So this goes beyond just scanning your page.
Right.
Yeah.
So Google Maps, the way you kind of control your information there is through your Google My Business dashboard. So From some of the activity operators I've talked to and kind of assessed, most of them do have their Google My Business listing claimed, so that they do have access to kind of the back end of that, the dashboard, where they can edit all their information. So that's step one, is making sure you have your listing claimed. And then step two is getting into your dashboard, making sure all your address information, your contact information is accurate, and then branching out into actually interacting with people through that. So the Google My Business dashboard allows you to respond to reviews on your listing. That's not only a great signal to Google that hey, this listing's active. I might want to rank this higher, but it sends a great trust signal to users when they're kind of comparing you to your competitors, saying, oh, this company actually cares enough to respond to their reviews, bad or good.
Okay.
So in addition to that, then also something that Google rolled out in, I don't know, it was probably about a year ago they started rolling it out, but Google Posts. So it's essentially like a social posting platform for your Google My Business listing. So and where that shows up is, so say someone does a branded search, you see on the right side of the search results is what we call the knowledge graph, where it has all of your business information, and then in that panel is where your Google post will show up. So it's a great opportunity for you to reach right out to that searcher that is trying to learn more about your brand, and send them to a specific page on your site, or tell them about a specific event that's going on. And then again, kind of tying that back to ranking well. Google isn't very transparent about what sort of factors it takes in consideration when ranking your listing, but people do a lot of studies, and there have been studies that have shown that if you're active in Google Posts, you have a better shot at ranking in Google Maps.
Yeah, so using the whale watching example, would someone post, seasons starting or seasons ending, or the time, would that be an example of a post that someone would put into Google Posts?
That's a great example. So yeah, different announcements like that, like, hey, whale watching season's coming to a close, get in while you can. So yeah, announcements, different events that you're doing, or even if it's like a particular tour activity that you really just want to promote and get in front of people, it's a great place to do it.
So is it going to be something like more ephemeral, so Facebook, you put a post, or like Twitter, Instagram, and you post it and it's got some activity in, but really it's for the past, and it's not for the past, it's not so evergreen. Would you post more timely information on there, or more evergreen types of information?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So actually Google Posts do expire after a week, with the exception of, I believe, if you do a post about an event, that will not expire until the date of the event, or just after the date of the event. So yeah, it's a good way too to kind of keep you active. You don't want to just set it and forget it. Do one post and say, all right, I'm good. It's a good way to kind of keep those business owners active and involved in that.
Okay, that's really great. So Google My Business is like the hub to make sure all your information is accurate. You can look at your reviews, respond to your reviews, as well as the new Google Posts, which I didn't even know that existed until we started talking. Yeah, which is pretty cool. So actually,
under the radar.
Yeah, which if it's under the radar, that means a lot of other tours aren't doing that. So taking advantage of that's probably going to be a big opportunity right there.
Absolutely.
And then photos. You can put up photos?
Yes. So Google has also made a really big push over the last couple of years to get business owners to add more photos to their listing. And I think this is a direct result of the interaction Google has seen over the years from searchers looking at photos and ultimately being satisfied with their result. Google has probably found that searchers that look at more photos are ending up being more satisfied with their experience. So in order for Google to provide a good experience, they want you to provide a good experience and add more photos of your listing. And it makes sense, right? If you're not familiar with a business, and especially, again, going back to activity and tour industry, people want to see the experience before they buy it. So adding those photos to your listing is paramount. It's so important. And I mentioned Google made a big push. They even in your Google My Business Insights, they'll show you, okay, how many photo views have you had over the last whatever trending period. I think you can look at it last week, last month, last quarter, or something like that. So it'll show you how many photo views you've had, but then it'll also show you in the same graph how many photo views your competitors have had.
Wow.
So really kind of pitting you against your competitors to improve your listing, which is pretty cool.
So tell me a little bit more about that. Is it they actually show the other competitors' photos or websites? How does that display that information?
Yeah, it's just one sort of line graph, so it doesn't show you exactly who the competitors are. Google's a machine, so it has to try to figure out who your competitors are. It's not someone saying, "Oh, I think this is good good competitor, I think that's a good competitor. It's a machine trying to figure out.
Okay.
Sometimes they're wrong.
Okay.
But for the most part, they're going to have a pretty good idea of who your competition is. And actually on that front, I forgot to mention, so with Google Posts, if you're not actively doing Google Posts, it'll show in your Google My Business dashboard, it'll show kind of a carousel of the posts your competitors are doing right now to push you to do posts.
So if someone who looks for you, so let's say it's John's whale watching tour, and they go to Google and type in John's whale watching tour, and John hasn't been active, it'll show the competitors in that branded search?
No, not in the branded search.
Okay.
This is specifically in the Google My Business dashboard. So you're logged into your listing where you can edit your information. So as a way to push you to do more posts, it's like, hey,
so it's
such and such, Steve's whale watching tour just did this post, and it shows you the actual post and everything. So obviously they're wanting to push Google Posts quite a bit.
Okay. So is there any benefit to not being active to try to see what your competitors are doing? Or is it something to where you just be like, just start posting?
Just start posting. I think even if you are posting, it's still going to show you what your competitors are posting.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Definitely just stay active.
Okay. Definitely stay active. That's really good. So what other insights can you see? Because I think that's an incredible metric, being able to see like your competitors are trending a lot higher than you on your photos. That probably means you need to increase your quality of your photos, maybe mix it up a little bit. But what other insights can you gather to take actionable information from?
Yeah. So some of the other insights, so it's actually called Google My Business Insights. If you're in your dashboard on the left-hand menu, it's the insights. That's where you'll see, okay, what percentage of searchers found my listing through a branded search, which Google calls direct search, I think. And then on the flip side, what percentage of searchers that found your listing found you through a non-branded search. So you get a feel for how people are finding you. And then another thing that's probably going to end up being the most valuable report in Google My Business Insights is the search query report. So that's brand new. Google's historically been a little guarded with keyword data when it comes to SEO. Since we're not paying to bid on the keywords, they don't want to give us that information. But historically, Google Search Console has been kind of the only area where webmasters have been able to find the keywords that are actually bringing traffic to their site. And within that, you can find the keywords that are bringing traffic to your Google My Business listing, but it's not very easy, especially if you're not an expert in that space. So bringing that keyword data into your Google My Business dashboard is super valuable. You can find out, obviously what percentage of, your branded searches are bringing up your listing, and then look at, there's this random tour that I didn't expect to have a map, and now I'm seeing that, so now I can optimize for that keyword to rank better in that map.
Oh, that's super useful. So you can actually go in, see what people are searching, figure out where there's opportunity, and follow that recommendation to just increase your rankings and thus increase the number of bookings you're going to get.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's incredible. Are there any other tips or anything that we've missed so far?
I think we covered it for Google My Business. I guess just a couple more things that you can see in Insights. You'll get the number of calls that you're getting on your listing, along with website visits and directions requests. Which is really interesting to know. Not only is the most actionable data, because it's hard to tie those interactions to actual sales, but obviously if you're seeing that month over month those numbers are growing, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and maybe if they'd say you don't really focus on really good phone sales, but you see you're getting a lot of phone calls, maybe that's a place that you can pick up what you're doing on your phone systems. Or if you aren't seeing any phone systems at all, maybe you just take the time to wind that down and focus more on your website.
Yeah, and then just one more piece of data you get in Google My Business Insights that I don't find super useful as an SEO, but I could see it being really useful for a tour operator is it'll show your call volume average per day. So you can see, I'm getting 10 times more calls on Tuesdays in my Google My Business listing. That could help with staffing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Cool. So basically, you need your technology fixed up. So that one's a little bit tricky. So you need somebody like you to help do that.
Bring on an expert.
Get an expert. Make sure your keywords are working for what people are really searching for.
Yep.
And so look at the related searches. So when you do a search, go to the very bottom. Make sure your information is accurate in your Google My Business listing. Google My Business. So that way everything's accurate. And then be active. right?
Yes.
Making sure you're being active and responding to all reviews, good and bad, as well as posting into Google Posts. And then finally, looking at the insights to make decisions to see what's working and where to take your time.
Right on.
Yeah, that's great. Anything I missed?
No, I don't think so.
Great. Casey, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. I hope that you guys get a lot of information out of that. If somebody wants to contact you, what's the best way for them to reach out?
You can do Casey at trkcreative.com. Otherwise, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Search Casey Emmanuel. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one, so you'll find me.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for watching. I hope you got a lot of actionable insights in that. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Tips for Tour Operators podcast. Bye.